The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
Well, it's time for a fact that makes your brain go. And this one's going to help a lot of our crew members out there. A lot of people checking in that have insomnia now and then, or some people have it every night. You have to take a pill. You have to do certain things like work out before you go to bed just to get yourself tired, and that doesn't always work. Stop your brain from working. This guarantees you will fall asleep within 2 minutes. It's something that somebody discovered on the internet in just the last week. Now, I have to intro it. I was going to just play some of it. It's a video you watch, and you will fall asleep in 120 seconds guaranteed. The video is called and labeled the most boring video ever made. And it is a 1989 Microsoft Word tutorial. Now, the guy that did this just found this out that people were using this to go to sleep. His name is Randy Smith, and he's a retiree now at this point because this was like, 35 years ago? Yeah. 1989? First off, it blows my mind that Microsoft Word existed 35 years ago.
Right?
Yeah. And it was for like the Macintosh, if you maybe had an older brother or a parent that had that cube Mac computer.
Is that the one that went when you logged in?
Well, that's how you got on the internet back then because it was the dial-up that
Why weren't they like, we should pick a different sound?
I think it needed to do that sound to make it connect.
I don't think so.
We could, well...
There's a lot of sounds that exist.
Kenzie, what was the sound again?
Oh, good, I'm online.
So
Can you imagine
if there's an IT...
as like a teenage boy wanting to look up porn? It's like, oh no, they're going to know.
Well, that was me.
Hey, can you imagine? Brian lived it.
Well, it not only did that, if you remember, it went... and then it went, welcome. Well, because that was AOL. Well, the AOL welcome was welcome, and then now try to find some porn.
The guy was waking up.
So if there's an IT person out there that can do a side subject here of checking in on why that sound had to exist, we'd love to hear about it at 312-591-8300. But this is a piece of the video that's helping people sleep better than they have, some people, their whole life. Now, let's just play this about 15, 20 seconds without interrupting it. I don't want to make people fall asleep on the Kennedy right now and crash.
It's dangerous. It's like the flying machine audio we played last week where they made Siri call 911.
I hope that doesn't make people sleep, but he's at the point. This video, by the way, is an hour and 47 minutes.
Oh, my God.
What is he building the computer?
What other instructions do you need? Here's the page, type the letters.
Well, he's giving an example at this point, what I found in the video, of like how to write a lease on Microsoft Word.
Oh.
But listen to the examples here he gives as I play it here.
Do a lease for a piece of property. Now let's just pretend right now that we've got the people standing there in front of us and we're over on our Macintosh and we're going to type out the rules to living in our property. So we sit down and we say the following are the rules for living in my house. Number 1, I want you to keep your crummy dog off of my brand new carpet. If you don't, I will shoot both you and your dumb dog.
Okay, do you think there's a Netflix docuseries on this guy now? He sounds like a psychopath. That cannot be real.
It's totally real.
Why is that his example? You think it would be like, put your dishes away?
I have no idea why he chose that for his path in that sentence.
Personal. Like, he has an issue right now, and you know it.
Well, it's crazy because I thought when it started, he was going to say keep the crummy dog off the couch. I understand that everyone wants pets on the furniture. Keep the crummy dog off the carpet. That creates a whole new set of problems.
This is like the floor is lava. This is a tough thing to do.
If you don't, I will shoot both you and your dumb dog.
Just a quick example of how to use the computer.
Now, if you didn't like that sentence, you can hit backspace and it will erase the shooting part.
Can you play 2 seconds of him talking really fast?
Yeah, here's a little bit more.
Give me just a second of him talking.
What you wanted is you wanted the 1 and the 2 to line up nice and even, and then you wanted all your words to line up nice and straight.
Hear me out.
Okay.
Does he sound like a president?
Let me hear it again.
I feel like he sounds like a president.
Let me just mention something to you here for a moment. A lot of you, when you start...
I will not raise taxes.
That's what I mean. I feel like immediately, like he's in power and I'm bored.
He's a classic 80s looking, good looking man.
Is he good looking?
Yeah, it's like he's got a shirt and a tie on, and maybe Case can post this video on Facebook so people
I'm
can
sure
see it.
He should be like, if you bring your wife to my house, I will sleep with her.
Microsoft Word, went in and tried to make this happen. And how did you make it happen?
Okay, it's an hour and 47 minutes, and people are falling
We're going to
asleep.
play the whole thing at 8.
Yeah.
So stay tuned.
We'll start Lauren's show at 10 with the whole video.
Hey, it's commercial-free hour. We're playing all the way through.
It's called, again, the most boring video ever made, the 1989 Microsoft Word tutorial, and people are using it to fall asleep, and it's working.
Has he responded?
So he was just shocked to find out he was trending. I think he found out somehow because he's like I guess he's probably in his 70s now. And somehow he found out about it. He was shocked that people are using this to fall asleep.
Do you think he's shot any dogs in his life? Or people?
I don't think that statement just comes to you naturally.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Something's going on. He
Yeah.
sounds like a really disturbed person.
He could have said, don't put up your Christmas lights by November. Have to wait till after Thanksgiving. As at least he was giving an example of not, I'm going to shoot you and your dog, your crummy dog.
I'm going to murder your entire family and there's
I have to issue a correction real quick on something Brian said. Brian said he's a good-looking guy. I'm looking at the screenshot of him right now. This looks like a man on the edge of a total collapse. He looks like he's an alcoholic. He looks haggard. This looks like a guy struggling to make through the 80s. It makes sense that he would shoot a dog.
Okay, Case, you have to realize, and you and I can relate to this. Brian says certain people are attractive because I think he thinks that it'll make him even more attractive. Like, if this guy is attractive, Brian is Pamela Anderson. You know what I mean? And, like, he loves that. He loves to do that.
Case isn't wrong in his assessment, but that's what 80s dads looked like. I mean, that's what
they did look so. Everybody in the 80s looked so old.
they all wore shirt and a tie.
I know.
Every day. And he has feathered hair, blonde feathered hair to the side, combed on the side. And
Well, what happened to society? When did people stop wearing ties everywhere? Was that Kurt Cobain's fault? Is that grunge?
yeah, his guitar, the dan and that.
Yeah.
Not only killed hair
Everybody got rid
metal.
of their ties?
It killed hair metal, but it also killed ties. Well, listen, Case will post this video so you can watch it for yourself and see if it'll make you fall asleep. But if you're having trouble, this is the video.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101. We're talking about something you saw as a kid that you were not supposed to. This goes to the story gone viral of, and the video will get up at Q101's Facebook page and Q101.com of a little kid's birthday party at the Seattle Zoo, and it was in the bear enclosure, and the bear was in this little environment with a pond through the glass, and all the kids are looking, and the bear jumped and ate these ducks that landed in the water.
I don't think we're going to post that. It's sad.
It is sad, but sometimes, it's
Life is hard. Deal with it.
Yeah,
Is
it's a
that your
circle.
point?
It's a circle of life thing. We all learn about nature at some point, these kids.
God.
If you can make the judgment call, Case will post during the show on Facebook. If you think
It's just so sad.
But it is, bears got to eat.
Hard to argue with that.
Okay, I'm going to I promised I'd tell you my story of how I was scarred for life when I saw my neighbor's house. We got a lot of people checking in. Jessica's got an incredible story about a turtle that she wasn't supposed to see. So we'll get to Jessica in just about 60 seconds. So my story is this. These burnouts moved next to my house when I was a kid. A bunch of, they looked like the band Boston, to give a reference point, because they all had like huge hair and they were cool. Like, I'm like 6 years old and these guys were cool.
Okay, all right.
Smoked tons of weed. My dad wasn't happy about it.
Do you think if you saw them now you would think they were cool, or is it just because you were so young you thought they were cool?
Well, they got to be like 70 now.
Okay.
So
let me rephrase the question. You're you now.
Yeah.
They're frozen in time. They're still the same age.
Oh.
Not are they cool now. But would you think they were cool if 2024 Brian saw them today?
Hell yeah.
Okay, all right.
I mean, all they did was ever wear, the Canadian tuxedo, jean jackets, ripped up jeans, and they had a badass car in the yard. And they smoked weed all the time. And again, my dad hated this.
Well, rightfully so.
Yeah. Property values are going down.
I was about to say.
Not that we were in a rich neighborhood, but my dad, worked his ass off to get out of the hood, and he goes to the suburbs and the burnouts move in next door. Sounds like a sitcom, actually.
That's the plot of that 70s show, basically. It's like Kelso and Hyde moved in next door.
Man. So we had a little basketball hoop in the backyard. I'd be out there shoot hoops when I was like 6 years old at the time, and I heard they were cranking like Metallica probably at that time, and I see the smoke waft out of the back door, and I'm out there as a 6-year-old playing basketball.
Who are you pretending to be?
Oh, at that point, Jordan.
Okay.
I'd always go like, Michael Jordan, and then miss over the backboard. Michael Jordan, and couldn't even get it to the rim at that point.
That's a cute visual.
I wish I had video of it. And all of a sudden I see the smoke and the door wafts open. And in the smoke, I can see a woman with very long, luxurious hair.
Like the silhouette of a woman.
Yeah. And you're 6 years old. You don't know anything. And I see the smoke come out and she comes out. And as the smoke blows away, I realize she's bottomless.
Bottomless how?
No pants on.
Okay. Is she wearing a shirt?
Yeah, she's wearing a shirt.
She looks like Winnie the Pooh, like sexy Winnie the Pooh?
She's Winnie the Pooh. Yeah.
What was her shirt? Was it like a band shirt?
I don't remember.
Okay.
It had like, frilly sleeves, because probably like a hippie a little bit.
Oh, was it a pirate shirt with a puffy shirt?
No, it was a short sleeve.
Okay, all right.
But I vividly remember bottomless.
That's maybe this is wrong of me to think. Women bottomless is a weirder look than men bottomless.
Well, when you're 6 years old.
You don't know anything.
I didn't have sisters.
No.
I had 4 brothers, and I ran. Mm-hmm. That's not the reaction you were expecting, I think.
Well, at 6 years old, I would hope you didn't jump on her. Let me take this for a spin real quick.
And she saw me and didn't react. Mm-hmm. Stayed out there bottomless. Like, didn't go, oh my God, and run in the house. She just stood there bottomless, smoking a cigarette.
Feeling the breeze.
Yeah.
It was drafty out there.
Well, it was a nice breeze. We had a creek in the background, so like, a little water scene.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I can picture it right now. I can picture it.
I have so many questions.
Or her, I should say, not me.
Please put some respect on that lady's name.
Where is she today? Holy cow, she must be 70 now.
Wow.
Yeah, she might be a grandmother.
Did she look good then?
I don't know. Because I have the visual in my head, and I know what it looks like now.
Uh-huh.
I can't match it up. I can't. Because I was so scared. I didn't know what was going on. I was scared, and I ran.
I can only speak to this from the male perspective, but the first time you see the bottom half of a woman, it's terrifying. I don't, you're not sure what to expect, but it's not that.
Yeah, that's my story. Kenzie's got a great story coming up, too, by the way, of something you weren't supposed to see as a kid. Jessica, I'm sure you're glad you stuck on the line for that story, aren't you?
I'm just dying here.
Okay, good.
Oh, my God, Case. Oh, shoot. Okay.
All right, Jessica. So what were you not supposed to see as a kid, and you did?
In Florida, we lived near Destin, and there was this little boy who was raising this large turtle. He didn't realize it was a large turtle when he had it, so he realized how big it was. They were going to donate it to this place called the Gulfarium.
Oh.
And the Gulfarium has, like, all these different enclosures. There's dolphins, there's stingrays, etc. So anyway, he's like, his mom said, okay, we're going to donate it. And there's this pen full of large turtles. It's going to have a great time. There was also an alligator in this large pen who got along swimmingly with all of these turtles. And, the keepers were like, it's going to be fine. It's going to be great. He's going to have a great life here. So they had like this big ceremony. And, they made a big to-do about it. And the boy trots over with his turtle and he drops it in the pen. And the alligator waddles over and snap.
Oh, no.
Ate this boy's turtle right in front of him.
Oh, no.
Right in front of him. And, of course, he's traumatized, and they offered him, like, a free membership for, 5 years or something like that, and he never came back.
Well, of course. That's not... I want a membership to see more slaughtering.
I mean, like, it's just so tragic, but you can't help but, like, laugh about it.
Oh, my God.
It's terrible. It was really terrible.
Now, we got to get that kid on the show with the gorilla kid and the gorilla.
Yeah.
Well, that kid needs a therapist. I don't know if we can help him.
It's a therapy session. It's just...
Man.
See, gators got to eat, too, but gators aren't as cute as bears.
Yeah, circle of life,
Brian and Kenzie.
On Q101.
Brian and Kenzie.
On Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Time for Kenzie's Crimes when she brings a crime to the table that's from the area, from Illinois, Chicago. Me and Case, the producer, don't have any idea about it. So we're all going to sit back and get around the campfire here and listen together as Kenzie brings it to us. And then maybe you've heard of it. Some of these crimes are very popular. And the best part about it is I always end up still learning something because Kenzie does
do a deep dive. You may have heard rumors.
Deep dive.
He said, she said, but now I said, okay?
Word.
Period.
All right. Well, go ahead, then. Let's get this going. I'm waiting. I'm ready to go.
Kathleen Savio was a 40-year-old woman who had 2 sons and was the third wife to former Bolingbrook Police Sergeant Drew Peterson. Things were looking up for Kathleen, who is on the cusp of a tense-filled financial battle with her ex-husband, the former Bolingbrook Police Sergeant. It was finally about to reach closure. That was until she was found dead in her bathtub on March 1st, 2004. The tub itself was dry, but her fingertips were pruny and her hair was wet with blood, and a cut was found on the back of her head. Police figured that she slipped and fell, and at some point the water had drained from the tub, and her death was ruled as an accidental drowning.
Can I just stop you for a second?
Yeah.
I'm so glad you're doing this because I do know the story, but however, there's so much to this story that it deserves a highlight to understand all that's going on. So go ahead.
This is the most time I've ever spent on one.
Yeah.
You know that clown trick where you pull scarves out of a hat? I'm like, good Lord. Every time I read an article, I had to revisit this a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. Years later, her husband, Drew Peterson, moved on and married a 4th wife. At the age of 49, he married 19-year-old Stacy Peterson. Stacy did not have the easiest childhood. Her parents split, and her mom, eerily enough, had gone missing when she was 14. She began dating Peterson at the age of 17 with her father's permission. I don't get that. I gotta be honest.
Because she was 19?
Well, no, she was 17.
Oh.
And got her father when they started dating.
Yeah.
And you think as a dad, this is a prime time to go, no. But whatever.
It's kind of...
You would be amazed at how many dads in history, though, have said,
Yes.
Sure. He's like, you got a 17-year-old we can trade? I don't know. Whatever.
I mean, he's not Steven Tyler of Aerosmith. I mean, it's a cop from Bolingbrook.
Because that makes it okay,
No,
Brian.
no. None of it makes it okay. What I'm saying is, Steven Tyler, maybe the dad's going to get some money out of it if he's an a-hole still, but he did that. Like, what are you getting out of a Bolingbrook cop dating your 17-year-old
ticket
daughter?
problem like you.
You know what? Well played.
Anywho, skis. Well, Peterson was still married to Kathleen Savios when he started dating. So the third wife he was still married to. He started dating Stacy. The couple lived at 6 Pheasant Chase Court in Bolingbrook, Illinois, which was less than a mile from where he was living with his current wife at the time, Savio, Kathleen. Together, they had 2 children, and then Stacy legally adopted Kathleen's children after she was ruled drowning in the tub. And she was very good to those kids. She adopted them, treated them like they were her own, and they became very close. And she was actually in the middle of completing her nursing degree at Joliet Junior College. So even though there was this messiness, she seemed like she had a really good heart and super good to the kids. It was trying to complete things, okay?
Yeah.
Now, Sunday morning, October 28th, 2007, Drew said he woke up at 11 to find that his wife of 4 years, 23-year-old Stacy Peterson, had already gone off to help paint a friend's house. Now, Stacy's sister, Cassandra Kales, had been trying all morning and then through the rest of the day to get a hold of Stacy, but was unsuccessful. After not being able to reach Stacy the entire day, she went to their home. Neither Drew or Stacy was there. One of the children answered the door and told her that they had had a big fight that morning and hadn't seen them since.
Ugh.
Cassandra called the Illinois State Police to report her sister missing at 4 a.m. on Monday. Now, Sergeant Peterson is cooperating fully with the state police, said Lieutenant Ken Keppel. He was also a cop with the Bolingbrook Police Department, and he told the Tribune on October 31st that obviously he's distraught. Drew's mother, Betty Morphy, told the newspaper, "My son is very upset. She's a lovely girl. They get along beautifully, and they're loving and kind together." Now, Drew Peterson, the husband, told the Tribune that he had last spoken to Stacy on the phone at 9 p.m. on the 28th, and that she said she was leaving him. So I don't know why he'd go ahead and contradict his mom. It's not a great idea. He said, "I believe she's with someone else, and I believe she's safe."
Liar. Liar.
Her family said,
That was a weird add-on, by the
"I
way.
think she's safe."
She's with someone else, and I'm sure she's very
it's like
safe.
when my son Tristan goes, "Listen, there's not a broken vase upstairs." I'm like, why? Lead me upstairs immediately. Immediately. Now, her family said they found that highly unlikely that she would just run out because she was the mother of 2 young children and then had adopted the other 2, so 4 kids depended on her, right? Now, on October 29th, Stacy's aunt, Suzanne Robinson, told the Tribune that 2 days before Stacy disappeared, Stacy had told Drew she wanted a divorce. She said he was very jealous and very controlling. She said that he followed her, tracked her with GPS on her cell phone, called her constantly. Now, Brian, does this ring bells on how you treat Megan?
I do track her on Find My Phone, but this is back in the day before. It took a little more technology to do it than just easy, like adding her on my phone.
Yeah.
I don't think I follow her. I mean, it's up something in the house.
Like a puppy dog around the house. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Now, Drew Peterson said that his wife probably wasn't using her cell phone because she knows you can find people with a cell phone. So that's why she wasn't using it. Every resource the authorities had were dispatched, tracker dogs, drivers, obviously different police officers on the case. And the same day, state police officer called her case a potential homicide, okay? On the same day they finally announced, we think something's going on, she didn't run away, less than 2 weeks after she disappeared. Now, the Will County State's Attorney Office officially reopened the investigation into Kathleen's 2004 death and had her body exhumed.
Wow.
So they were like, we're starting to think Stacy died, and now let's look at Kathleen's accidental death.
Right.
We're going to pause right there. This story had a recent update as of April 4th.
Right on. In about 3 minutes here, Kenzie's Crimes. We come back with the conclusion on Brian and Kenzie on Q101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Kenzie's Crimes, Part 2, the conclusion of the Drew Peterson story that Kenzie is laying out. And I know a lot of people know pieces of this story, but this is really a deep dive in getting everything.
Now, Drew Peterson, just as a quick recap, if you're joining us, he was a former police sergeant in Bolingbrook. He had 4 wives total over the course of his life. His third wife, Kathleen, had kind of a mysterious death. They said it was a drowning, but they decided to exhume her body after his 4th wife went missing. And that's where we are. Kicking you off with a quote, "I'm convinced she was the victim of murder. Who done it?" That was the pathologist, Dr. Michael Bannon, who firmly believed that Kathleen, the 3rd wife, like there was some foul play in there.
After they exhumed the body, so they exhumed it, they saw that, he said, yeah, she was murdered.
Yes. Now, the defense attorney, Glasgow, concurred that there was evidence that Kathleen had been the victim of homicide, and it was staged to look like an accident. Now, this is crazy. Kathleen's sister, Sue Doman, said, she told me that she was afraid. She told me that he would kill her and that it would look like an accident.
Good Lord.
She had called her sister and said that.
When people say something like that if I end up dead and it's going to look like an accident, listen to them.
That's a good tip.
Just a new tip I want to add to the thing.
Way to go, Brian.
There's so many people you hear about this in these shows and your Kenzie Crimes that they say this and no one does anything.
I know.
You say, like, if it happens, maybe try to do something before it happens. Try.
Like I've said, if I go missing, I'm definitely in the pond behind our house. I've said that.
It's on record.
Me and Casey are going to get golf balls out of the pond, and you, if that happens.
Golf balls first?
Well, whatever comes up.
Okay.
Do you ever see those people magnet fishing? We're going to hope you're wearing like a studded belt buckle that day. We can get you out of the water.
Unbelievable.
One of her metal outfits, yeah.
Okay. In November 2002, Kathleen had written to the Will County Assistant State Attorney's Office saying he knows how to manipulate the system. His next step will be to take my children or kill me. All this evidence was available, and it was ruled as an accident. Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Now, Stacy's family, meanwhile, was appalled at how Peterson, who was suspended from the Bolingbrook Police Department in September 2007 for an alleged, quote-unquote, serious lack of judgment during a police pursuit. He had to resign November 20th with his full pension of $6,068 a month.
A month?
And he was behaving so lightly in the situation, and they were disgusted, right?
Our pension's not that good.
Now,
not even close.
I don't think we have one.
We deal with the union when you.
Do we?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, Brian's
no one's told me anything.
Brian's really concerned about it. I've heard a lot about the pension.
Oh boy,
You're vested in 5 years.
I you don't have to break down our pension right now, right?
I'm just saying $6,600 a month, that's a lot more than I got coming, and now I realize I'm going to work till I'm dead. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, if you become, I think this position's open at Below. The mom was quoted saying, "This man doesn't take it seriously. It's becoming a joke in front of media," and it really was. Here's his beautiful young fourth wife of a cop whose third wife died under suspicious circumstances, vanishing into third air. Everyone's eating it up, and it became way too much entertainment than how serious this really is. And he was eating up the attention because really becoming untouchable at this point, right? So Peterson's defended himself with this quote: "I was a loving husband, okay? I was. What can I say?" That was it.
Asked and answered, if you ask me.
How could you not believe him? Anyways.
Left nowhere to go.
I mean, that ties up any loose ends right there. So toward the end of November 2007, a then unidentified relative of Peterson's told a friend that he had helped Drew carry a 4-foot-long plastic blue barrel that was warm to the touch and seemed to weigh about 120 pounds. He carried it out of Drew and Stacy's bedroom and loaded it to Drew's SUV and then drove it to a relative's home.
He didn't ask what was in it?
No, and he told a friend, I wonder if that was bad. And then that friend called the police. Now, these people aren't named, so that's why it's worded weirdly. So whatever. And then Drew's defensive team said that family member has serious psychological issues, and the entire story's made up.
God.
So we don't know about that. Now, Peterson's stepbrother, this is crazy, Tom Morphy, said that Drew had called him and said that Stacy was cheating and something needed to be done. He asked Morphy, his stepbrother, if he loved him enough to kill for him. Morphy said no. And Peterson...
Good answer, by the way.
Yeah. If the answer is no to that, do you love me enough to rent a storage locker for me instead? And he couldn't because he didn't have an ID on him.
Oh, boy, this is not the guy.
He goes, "I never thought for a minute he was going to kill her. I thought he was going to kill the guy she was cheating with." Also bad.
Killing in general is bad.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter which person's getting killed.
Not do it.
Yeah.
But Brian, do you love me enough to kill for me?
For you?
Yeah.
No.
What about a storage locker?
I'll get you a storage locker.
Thank you, Brian.
You're so cheap. No, you wouldn't. Fortunately, the grand jury was not convinced that Peterson had anything to do with Stacy's disappearance. This often happens when a body can't be found. In fairness, you got to place a body with it. However, Kathleen's death had officially been reclassified as a homicide. It's no longer an accident, and things weren't looking good for him. At the time of this, wife missing.
Yep.
Ex-wife has now been reopened as a homicide. He started dating 23-year-old Christina Rains, who had 2 children, and she moved in with him. Case, you were struggling to get people to date you all the time.
And I haven't killed anybody.
I know.
Yeah, as far as we know, you have a nice track record.
I'm a pretty okay guy, all things considered.
Also, and I'm not judging because I don't want people judging me, but he wasn't like Brad Pitt.
No.
You know what I mean? Like the women lining up to date him. And
He was making over $6,000 a month, though.
Well, he was. Yeah, his pension's better than mine.
And God. Now, in May 2008, Peterson was arrested on a felony weapons charge. Investigators found a gun and confiscated it. He, of course, pleaded not guilty. He was indicted and arrested for Kathleen's murder, finally, May 7th, 2009. His bail was set for $20 million. They weren't playing with this guy again,
Good.
okay? But,
They heard about his pension.
You can go to the ATM and get that out.
And then the judge decided...
Should make a quick stop.
The judge then decided to get rid of bail and he say he has to be in jail for the duration of the trial.
Good.
So finally, September 2012, Peterson was found guilty of murder. Peterson was sentenced to 38 years in prison for Kathleen's murder, the third wife, right? Now, ever since he has been trying to overturn that conviction, even to this day, he's working on that. However, even if Drew's conviction for Kathleen's murder is overturned, he won't be getting out of prison because he was sentenced to 40 years behind bars for plotting to kill the prosecutor in the murder trial, which he accidentally openly did because he was soliciting for someone to kill him. So even if he overturns Kathleen, he still has to do 40 years because of the other guy he tried to kill while he was saying he was innocent of killing Kathleen.
I mean, again,
it's tough to say you wouldn't kill somebody when you tried to kill the guy saying you killed somebody. This is the update. So if you knew all that information, as of April 4th this year, Cassandra Stacy's sister believes that she has found Stacy's remains. Okay.
Oh, wow.
She sent a remote-operated vehicle equipped with sonar to the bottom of an Illinois canal where she claims she found the remains of her sister. A still image from a video recorded by the remote-operated vehicle appears to show a skull and several bones beneath the water of the canal. She says she's been following a female body since 2007 down the canal. She went and got this equipment because she was not really happy with what the police officers were doing. And in 2007, 19 days after Stacy's disappearance, is when she first found this body. It was there for 3 days. Law enforcement did nothing, she claimed. She was threatened to be arrested if she acted on getting the remains herself. Then it disappeared because it's in the canal, so it moved around. So she's been following him for a long time. She believes these are the remains that she had found all the way back in 2007, and she's really not happy with the lack, I suppose, of enthusiasm from the police. I'm trying to word it really nicely.
That's a good way to say it.
I'm working really hard on that.
Yeah.
She said she's ready to go. She just has to find the right people and the right resources and equipment. So she's kind of started a GoFundMe online to raise money to go exhume the remains from the Illinois Canal. This, again, is April 4th, like less than a month ago. She says that her goal is only to offer her sister peace and has nothing to do with the suspect in her disappearance, because in her mind, he's already behind bars.
Right.
Isn't that insane?
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.